All right, guys, so now we're going to be modeling division problems. Yay! But now we're looking at remainder, so we have to be a little bit more careful and make sure that we've worked it out to show if we have a remainder or not. What I want you to do now is make sure that you read the question and notice that I boxed the word remainder and underlined the equation. Go ahead and try to solve this on your own by pausing the video, and then we'll go over it together. All right, so now what we're going to do is read the problem together and then set it up. There's a couple different ways we can solve for this. Let's read it. Peyton wants to know what the remainder is to 478 divided by 3. We've got some answer choices here. I notice this 12 looks a little funky, and I'll tell you why once we get to the end. Maybe you've already noticed it as well, but D is also 0, so who knows? What if there isn't a remainder at all? Well, let's solve. We could solve with the standard algorithm. We could do an area model. We could do equal groups, the circles, and trying to put some in each group. Or we could do something called the Big 7. And we're multiplying to divide. So I noticed that looks like a 7, right? That's why it's called the Big 7. I put my large number that we're breaking apart here. That's called our dividend. And I've also got our divisor, what we're dividing by. Now what I'm going to do is also list my Big 7 friendly numbers. So I can multiply to divide by 100, 50, 20, 10, 5, 2, and 1. So I've got 7 numbers here to try to multiply times 3 to get as close as I can to this number each time. So I'm going to start, and I always want to start with my biggest number so I can see if I can get this out of the way and go real quick. So I've got 100 times 3. Well, can we do that to get close but not go over 478? Well, let's count up by 100 3 times. So 100, 200, 300. So it looks like I can do that without going over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 100 here. So I know that right here I took out 100 groups of 3. So now I have to subtract. So I'm multiplying, subtracting. And now what I'm going to do is solve for this. 8 minus 0 is 8. 7 minus 0 is 7. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is how much I have left to find. Well, can I take out another 100 groups of 3? Can I take out 300 from this? I can't, it's too big. So I know that now I can't work with 100 anymore. Bye-bye, see ya. So I'm gonna move down to my next number. Okay, you could try to go, if you're not comfortable with 50, you can go down to 10s. But I'm gonna try to go down to my next number because 50 is easy to add up by. So I'm gonna see if I can do 50 groups of 3 by counting up 53 times. So 50 plus 50, we know is 100, plus another 50 is 150. And I can do that because look, it doesn't go over. It's actually really close to this 178. So I'm gonna put a 50 here to show this is where I took out 50 groups of 3. So when I subtract 150, 8 minus 0 is 8, 7 minus 5 is 2. Then I'm left with nothing there. So I have 28 left to find. Wow, that's really close. So I know I can't take out 150 more. So 50 is off the table now. Well, if I notice 20 times 3, well, that would be the same as saying 20, 40, 60, that's way too big. Now I've got 10 and 3, that's easier to add now. We're getting into our fluency facts. So 10 times 3 is 30, and that's still just barely over, so we can't use 10s either, but we can definitely use 5s here, so let's do that. 5 groups of 3, 5 times 3 is 15, so I can take that out. 8 minus 5 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1, so look at there, boom. We're getting really close, and you can always bring this down if you need to kind of, it's like a workspace. So now I can't do 5 groups of 3 again, that's 15, and just be a little bit over, so we can move down to 2s. So 2 times 3, I'm gonna put the 2 here. 2 times 3 is 6, so we can do that, okay? 3 times 6, or 3 times 6, 3 minus 6, we can't do that, so we can borrow. Bring this, 13 minus 6 now is, okay, we got that, 7. So 7, and I've got another group of 2 I could bring out because 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so I put a 2 here. And that's gonna leave me with 1, and oh goodness. Well, I definitely can't do groups of 2 again. And 3 times 1 is 3. Can't take away 3 from here. So it looks like I do in fact have a remainder, I do. So even though it's not asking us for the quotient, the full answer, if we were to add this all up, this would give us the answer to 478 divided by 3. But it wants to know here, this right here, this piece of information, what is the remainder? And I look down here, I can't do anything else with this 1. So my answer choice is going to be C. Can't do anything with it. Now, earlier, I don't know if you remember it, I said the 12 is kind of weird when I look at it. Well, if you see 478 divided by 3, okay, your remainder cannot be bigger than 3. It actually can't even be the same as 3. Your remainder is going to be 2, a 1, or a 0. Because if you're finding groups of 3, then if you had 12 here, 3 can go into 12. So actually, you would be able to get by with not having a remainder here. So this one is actually just a funky answer. We end up not having a remainder, and these two are pretty close. So that's your answer.